Hey, this is Eric with Black Swan Odysseys and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered, looking at a tire inflator in the store, and wondered what's inside that box? Did they use good quality components, or was it just cheaply made that's not going to last you more than a couple of months? Well, today I'm going to take the Bonaire air inflator and I'm going to open the case and see what's under the hood. Stick around, I think you're going to find this to be a good one. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. First thing I'm going to show you is a pressure test using the 12 volt and the 120 volt portions of the inflator. My rear tire is a 170 by 60. So let's see how long it takes to fill it up. Then the next thing I'm going to do is break open the case and look under the hood and see what kind of components are inside this inflator. So here we go. This is the Bonaire 12 volt 120 inflator. All right, we're going to do a series of tests of tire inflation. I'm going to do two different tests, one from a 12 volt side and one from the 120 volt or household side. Both times I'm going to start with a flat tire and see how long it takes it to pump up. The first thing I noticed is you can change your tire pressure or automatic stop increments, 1 pound increments. So I'm going to set mine for 42 psi, because 42 psi is my working pressure on my bike. First I'm going to start it up so you can hear how noisy this is. Then after that I'm going to start my bike up because I don't want to let it run on just the battery alone. Okay, stopped at 42.5, it's interesting, and took 3 minutes 19 seconds, almost actually 3 minutes 20 seconds to get to 42 point, oh, it dropped it back down. Interesting, look at that. See, remember it stopped at 42.5 and then it dropped back down. Now let's check the tire pressure, see if that matches up with what my gauge says. There we go, right on, 42 psi. This time we're running off of 120 volts, and you can see on the switch, I've got it on the little house. One thing I noticed about the switch that I really like, it's just a real solid switch. Tire is now flat, hooked up to the machine. We're going to go ahead and dial this up to 42 psi again. I also think if you hold a long press on the up and down arrows, it'll speed it up faster. And there's 42 psi. And we're off it. A little less time. 2 minutes 56 seconds and 0.9. It was really 2 minutes 57. And just for a comparison wise, the tire that I'm running on is a 170/60. Okay, this time it was 41 pounds. I think what I would do is I would overinflate by a few pounds and then draw it down to cold pressure. Okay, this is what I learned when I looked underneath the hood or cracked the case open. Component quality and engineering seem to be pretty good compared to other inflators of this type. Inside the shell, nothing was left loose. This includes wiring, hoses, PC board, and so forth. Everything was fastened down, just wasn't pressed in place by the case or with the other inflators, just left dangling loose inside a case. All hoses and wires were captured. Wires were captured with zip ties. Numerous, as you can see in the video, numerous spots where wires were tied down, and done in such a fashion that you knew they weren't going to get anywhere near moving parts such as gears and pump arms. Even the hose leading to the digital pressure gauge on the case was clamped in place. All wiring termination points, such as leading to the PC board and switch, were all covered with shrink wrap. This would prevent any kind of worry of shorting out, and also supported and provided extra strength to the soldering points of these wires. The air inflation nozzle, even though it was plastic, looked like it was pretty sturdy, and it functioned quite well. The lever on the top worked well, and it was easy to manipulate it on and off the tire stem. An interesting observation I made is this inflator had not one but two compressors in there. It had a 12-volt compressor and a 120-volt compressor. What they did is they put a plastic plate there and sandwiched the compressors on each side of that plastic plate. You'll see that they share a manifold. It was intriguing that they did this because you think manufacturing-wise it would be cheaper just to put one compressor in there and then just step down with a transformer the 120-volt power supply. But the second compressor means two compressors to share the workload, which means this should extend the life of the inflator. In comparison to previous inflators of this price range and style, this one seems to be way better designed. The digital pressure gauge seems to be right on with my handheld gauge. Being within a pound or so on several inflations, I thought was pretty good. Would this be a good travel inflator to pack on your motorcycle? No, not at all. This thing's the size of a medium shoebox, so packing it would be a nightmare. But I think it would be a good air inflator to pack in your car or to use in your shop. Would it replace a shop compressor? No, not at all. Even the smallest shop compressors with a low CFM is going to inflate your tires way faster than this thing would. But if space is a premium in your shop, or you just don't have a need for a shop compressor, then yes, this is a great tire inflator. I think having an option of 120 or 12 volt is a nice advantage. But one thing I notice about the 120 volt side, it only has a pigtail of about 1.5 feet long for your plug-in cord. So you're going to have an extension cord with this. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next ride.